Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast, the podcast and talk show where we have digital discussions, the worlds of TV, film, social media, pop culture, news, sports, music, lifestyle, everything really depending on the guest. We talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On social media, you know me as PD Beats. My guest is an actor. He will star in a show that will be debuting on Amazon Prime on December 28th called The Influencers. We're with Mike Heslin. Mike, welcome to Popternative, man.
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
No problem. I mean, it's almost like a bit of like the calm before the storm. I mean, like you guys make a show, you film it, you edit it, and then you're just kind of playing the waiting game. How's that been for you so far?
Yeah, well, it's actually been especially crazy because of the pandemic. So we shot this in the fall of last year, and we had just kind of gone into post-production right before the pandemic blew up in March. So for us, it kind of worked out perfect timing because all the stuff we had to do in our studio anyway was right around that time. So we worked through the spring and then started pitching. And yeah, it's been exciting. We're just so happy, especially when it's your baby. You're just so happy that it's finally coming to fruition and that other people other than you are going to see it.
Oh, absolutely.
I've seen it too many times.
Tell us about what we can expect with this show. What's it kind of all about? And talk a little bit about your character as well, Mike.
Sure, yeah. So The Influencers is about a couple social media stars, which I'm going to say in quotations because I'll let you guys decide for yourselves. But they're selected to go live in this Big Brother style house to compete for a dream brand deal. So there's cameras all over this house. You have some very interesting personalities, and only one of them's gonna become the face of this new brand. But needless to say, I think we can all agree what you see online isn't what you always get in real life. So yeah. It's a satire. It's kind of a mockumentary in the vein of The Comeback or Best in Show, and it kind of shows you what happens when they lose control and can't curate every picture or video, or they're caught on candid camera. It's a lot of fun.
Was there in terms of the cast and the people that are on the show, was there a knowledge of the influencer landscape? Was anyone that was on the show technically an influencer in real life? What was that all about?
Well, so to be honest, the birth of the idea came from, I used to work for a big social media agency in New York, and I've worked with a lot of these kinds of people. And so 2 years ago, my partner and I had this idea. We were I'm surprised there's not a show about this. Social media rapidly changes every year, and it's, comparing where it started a decade ago to now, it's crazy. But so I had I don't know if I was fortunate or unfortunate, but I had the pleasure to work with a lot of crazy characters through that social media agency. And I was there's something here because there's many great people, but you also meet some very.
So this show is kind of the product. It's one of those things where obviously, I'm sure there's some things that we'll see in the show that someone's gonna ask you is this real or not? And you're kind of just gonna be hey, it's up to you to decide. But deep down inside, you kind of know you're not gonna tell anyone.
Yeah, I can neither confirm nor deny. What I will say is there's a lot of references, and I think what's good about the show, because look, social media is very polarizing, especially in 2020.
It's a double-edged sword, right? That's the best way to describe it.
Absolutely. So yeah, especially this year. So I think what's good about our show is whether you loathe it or love it, there's something for everyone. There's lots of those inside jokes and references that you'll be oh my gosh, that's about so-and-so. Yeah. And if you don't get those, there's also plenty more
I'll tell you what blows my mind a little bit. And the reason I bring this up too is because something kind of happened to me recently on this, because you know how it is. You work for a social media agency. You know what I mean? You used to. There's a lot of so there was all those speculations about TikTok, right? If TikTok was gonna get deleted forever and everything. And I think of a lot of those people on TikTok, Mike, that they only have the TikTok followers. Like they have maybe another they have another following like on other platforms, but not as much. But like if TikTok got like deleted, they're like their relevance is kind of like it's history, right? Like that's scary to think, right? Because it's hard to kind of get a fan base on multiple social medias. Like it is difficult.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that whole thing was so crazy, but also, it's the world we live in. Like, what's her name? Charlie something. She's like
Charlie D'Amelio. Yeah.
Thank you. She's like the number one TikToker. But it's like she, especially to the younger generations, like definitely like my sister's generation, like she is more famous to them than Angelina Jolie or like a Brad Pitt. So it's like. Yeah. This is the world we live in.
There's a lot of 15 and 16-year-olds on TikTok, man. Like a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just but it blows my mind. I mean, like you see it all the time. Like, for example, I'm nowhere near an influencer, but I had a good amount. But like I had some issues lately with my Instagram. Like my Instagram account got like hacked and disabled. So I had to make a new one. Yeah. So it's just like I can't even imagine these people that have like the really big followings and then just like it's gone type thing. That's why like I'm trying to be on all of them and get a following on all of them, but it's just like what happens literally if Charlotte D'Amelio's like TikTok, she has other followings as well, but like that's like her main base, right?
She's big enough. I think she'd be fine. Yeah. But no, to your point, I mean, like for a lot of these kids, it's like this is so high stakes, life or death. And you see that like with our characters too. Like one girl says she doesn't date anyone with like under a certain following.
Oh my god.
There's references to some of them who may or may not have gotten stranded at a fire festival.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there's lots of goodies that you'll either crack up at or roll your eyes at, but I think both of those are.
Do you think it was important that you and your partner kind of had that familiarity with you working in a social media company to make a show about social media? Because you write about what you know, right, Mike?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think so. I think because I think there's tons of other people who could have written a similar story to this, but if you don't kind of have that inner knowledge of how these people operate, like on the business side or like the way they walk through their daily lives, I don't think it's as multi-dimensional. I'm sure like someone else could do the story, but it would be a bit more like cliche or like the characters would be a bit more 2D. So hopefully my knowledge paid off. But
is your passion and your interest more in like the content creation aspect of things, or like did you get kind of driven into like the acting kind of like did you kind of get the acting bug a little bit? Like for example, you were talking about you started working for a social media agency. For people that follow you on social media, they know they're all about like the content creation, and you also act. What kind of led you towards that like kind of facet of the entertainment industry?
Yeah. Well, social media I just kind of fell into because someone one day was like, "Oh, you seem to be pretty good at this," and then I just got paid for it. No, but before that, I mean, I've been an actor since I was 5 years old. That's what I've been doing. But more than that, like I just like to create things. Like I would direct like the neighborhood kids and like plays in the backyard and stuff, right? And I got a BFA, but I got an emphasis in directing in college. So I've always acted, but I've always kind of liked to be more in the mix, creating, writing, producing. And this actually was my first like official like directorial debut.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That was pretty wild, like directing this. And then also I forgot to mention, I play Taylor.
You're in it as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I play one half of this really obnoxious Insta couple. So that was crazy too, because that was the first time I'd ever directed and been in something. And that's tough.
Was it hard? Yeah. So it was hard wearing many hats on that project, do you think?
Yeah, I would say first and foremost, it was a pleasure. And like, I loved it. Like it was the most creatively fulfilling. Like I felt like I was high every day just because it was like, that juice you have for 12 hours a day being like, okay, what's next go,
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, it was a challenge. And it's funny because I grew up primarily an actor and I found myself wanting to I was relieved when I wasn't in a scene. Like I was thrilled, and even when I was in a scene, it's hard to kind of switch gears and, and just fully be present as an actor, not be like, okay, wait, what'd she do? Do we need to redo this? Okay, maybe we try, So it was interesting, but I loved it. I don't know. I've always kind of been like that. I like to have my hands in as many pots as possible.
Do you feel like with the the kind of the direction the entertainment industry, specifically with like TV and film, is going? Do you think it's almost like a prerequisite that like you have to kind of like get your feet wet in different kind of facets? Like, do you like? I feel like there's a lot of people that do a lot of different things. I feel like you're not just finding like just a person who acts. I feel like you're not just finding just a person who directs. I feel like a lot of people are kind of doing different things. It's almost like a prerequisite, I feel, that like people want to bring on people that have a lot of different kind of abilities. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. I think in this industry, it used to be like, you got pigeonholed and it was like, okay, you're an actor, you're a singer. If this singer wanted to transition over, it was really hard to do. And people didn't really take that seriously or wouldn't respect you as much, But now I think, knock on wood, I think we're in this like phase where you must be a multi-hyphenated person. Yep. It's almost looked down upon if you're not, So yeah, I think we're luckily in a phase where hopefully it's embraced to wear many hats, because I think that just is indicative of you as like a creative person, and it shows like you're well-rounded, and like while that might not be your forte, you do get it and you can help out there, I think, I think creates better work.
And people are going to be able to watch this show on Amazon Prime Video. I mean, you shopped it around, but how did that come to be, getting the show on Amazon, Mike?
Yes, so it's on Prime Video, all 5 episodes. Very exciting. We worked with a distributor called Blue Ant Media, and it was quite a journey, because the truth is, when I first created this, I just did it for me and my friends. I was like, you know what? I'm going to make this little web series, just like give us some work. We have together collectively with my production company and my friends, we have a good little social following built in already. So I was like, we have some support, like I'm making something for us. And then it just kind of took on a life of its own, honestly. Like it built momentum, and I wrote it, and I was like, this is fun, right? And then we started pitching it in LA, and some of our fancy friends over there were like, you need to like do this right. Like this could like be somewhere. And so it kept snowballing. We shot it. That was the most magical 2 weeks of my creative life, and got a distributor, and yeah, here we are. But
absolutely,
it's crazy, because on one hand, it feels like it all happened really quickly, but it's also been like a 2-year journey. Like this show has been 2 years of my life. But yeah. So it's now streaming on Prime Video.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, thank you so much for coming on Popternative, and everyone's really excited to check out The Influencers, man. It must be exciting for you that it's almost out for everyone to see.
Yeah, please do. Not to like shill, but like check it out, watch all 5 episodes, leave a preferably 5-star review. No, but truly, I mean, like I said, we've been working on this for 2 years, so we are very excited and proud of it. Excited to share it and like start getting feedback and see like what characters people like hate or gravitate towards too. Absolutely. So yeah, check it out.
Well, where can people follow you on social media to keep up to date with everything?
You can find me on all the social things at Mike Heslin. It's just my name. And if you want, you can also follow at Influencers, the series, on Instagram, which is where we post a lot about the show. But yeah, at Mike Heslin is where kind of you can.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much again for coming on the show, and all the best with the reception, man. I hope everyone enjoys it.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popturn. For previous episodes, till next time, this is Mike Heslin from The Influencers and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.